okay, this is like take 100. Seriously, every time I try to make this video. I'm getting ready to work out. That's why I look like this. I want to get this done quick because I have work and I want to get my workout in. But I also want to fulfill my promise. So the last video was sex hormones and orgasms, and I was going to talk about women accessing their cycle, our whole menstrual cycle, and talk about fasting. So I want to do a little bit more about fasting. This information's kind of for everybody, and I'll make a disclaimer to start. And I have notes to keep myself on task because I can go all over the place. I get very excited. I'm very passionate. We know this. So, okay. If you have an eating disorder, this video is probably not for you. There's a whole psychology around food. I know people who have had eating disorders and have used fasting to actually help them heal, which seems counterintuitive. There is some science behind it, but that's not my jam. I'm not a licensed professional in terms of this stuff. I just know what I know. So with that said, fasting. What is the difference between intermittent fasting and time restricted eating? They're two different things. So according to experts, and again, this is going to vary, intermittent fasting begins when you hit about 13 hours because we all eat time restrictively per se with, sleeping, not eating, and then when you wake up and you break the fast, breakfast. So, and that can get all sticky, but about 13 hours is when you start to increase growth hormone and cell death begins. So that's a good starting point. And that's where I would recommend everybody start. See how you go 8 hours. And if you can handle 8 hours, I would move to 13. And then about 17 hours is when your blood sugars really start to dip. It elicits autophagy. Autophagy is cell death. You are increasing the intelligence of your cells. And it's literally like, think of a Pac-Man going through your body, eating up all the dead, denatured things that don't belong. The same thing happens. I used to work for Enzymedica. Love that enzyme company. Way back in the yesteryears when I was a sales rep. And you can actually do that with proteolytic enzymes. Proteolytic enzymes, you take them very far away from food on an empty stomach, and they kind of are a Pac-Man, and they gobble up all the dead, denatured proteins, anything that doesn't belong. And then this starts to move viruses and bacteria out of the body. Enzymedica actually has a great product called Virus Stop. I used to live off of it. However, I worked in multiple health food stores, and I was in that field for a long time, and I was bombarding my body with things. I take almost nothing now. 2 supplements, I'm down to that. That's it. Be very careful with these things. This is why I love fasting. Fasting is a great alternative to a lot of things that we're spending an enormous amount of money on that we don't need. Because another thing I would say is test. Test your minerals, test your vitamins, go get some testing done on what you're truly low in. There are many professionals out there who are doctors and also do a lot of these alternative practices now. So it never hurts to get these things tested. I always say this about blood work. You can get your blood work taken every day for a full week, and you're going to get different reads and you're going to get different information. That's just how it works. That's why I don't completely go by that, but you might see strong dips, especially in certain vitamins and minerals. I feel like people are, I'd see people coming into the health food store spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars that they probably don't have on supplements that they didn't need, because there's a lot of like hype out there. Like they make you feel like you need everything. Anyway, so 17 hours, you're starting to kick out viruses, bacteria, you're increasing the intelligence of the cells. Autophagy is fully activated. You're starting fat burning mode. 24 hours, you're rebooting intestinal stem cells. So you're literally rebooting your intestinal health. 36 hours, you are in full fat burning mode. You're at the highest peak of fat burning. 48 hours, dopamine is increasing. You've accessed anti-aging, the anti-aging process. Now we all age. I'm talking about the inappropriateness of aging. You know, when you meet someone and you're like, wow, you know, I thought you were like 55 and you're like 40. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying it's out there. So 48 hours dopamine increasing, activating the anti-aging process. 72 hours, we are moving white blood cells out that are not healthy. We're sloughing those off and inviting in the fresh, new, and vital. Stem cells, systemic stem cells are being rebooted at 72 hours. There's lots of benefits. What does fasting mean? Water only. There's dry fast, where you're not even drinking water. Don't ever do that unless you are under the influence of a really smart, wise, licensed professional. I don't recommend that that's something you do on your own. We can go a month without food. We cannot go very long without water. So be careful, especially if you have kidney bladder issues. But, so that is intermittent fasting. We want to start that ketosis process, again, about 13 hours, and we start to lessen inflammation. That is your kind of like tutorial on intermittent fasting on speed. Now, menstrual cycle. What is day one? Day one is the first day that you bleed. And that is anywhere from day 1 to day 10, because women's cycles vary greatly. Hormones are at your lowest. You're producing estrogen. Estrogen thrives when insulin is low. So while you're menstruating, when you're on your moon time, ironically, a lot of people would think the opposite. It is the best time for fasting. Deeper fasts, like 3-day fasts. Again, you have to listen to your body. Like, don't go into a 3-day fast if you've never done a 1-day fast. You know what I mean? Be smart about it. Listen to your body. But it's a perfect time for a 3-day water fast. You actually want to be lower carb. Ovulation, day 11 to about 15. 3 hormones are surging: progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. So we got a lot going on. Testosterone is coming in big here. Progesterone does not like cortisol to be spiked. Progesterone regulates the blood flow of our period, and it kind of calms us down and lets us know that everything is okay. This is why postmenopausal, when estrogen is increasing and there's almost no progesterone, women can get very cranky and feel extremely agitated, flustered, irritated. The mood swings come in. I hope I'm making sense here. So day 11 to 15, while you're ovulating, no more than a 13 to 15 hour fast. Focused more on food that breaks the hormones down. So nature-based foods, not McDonald's, not sugar, nature-based foods. Days 16 to 19, longer fast again, about 24 to 36 hours. Day 20, progesterone is high. You don't want to fast. You want the progesterone to spike. Again, we need certain foods to produce progesterone. I am very low in progesterone since I've aged. This has started in my 30s, but it was stress-induced again because progesterone does not like cortisol. Here's what I will tell you. No, I'm not a hormone expert. No, I'm not a doctor. But I am somebody in my 30s, in my young 30s, completely stopped menstruating for years and was told I was in early menopause and there was nothing anybody could do or I could do. I'm going to be 47 years old in November and I menstruate every month. I was determined. I knew they were wrong. I trust myself. I trust the intelligence within me, and I got my periods back a couple years later. And it took a lot of work and it took a lot of time, but I did it. So that makes me an expert, right? Experiential learning. Learn by doing, learn by experiencing things yourself, and then you're able to pass it along. And what's better than that? You know, I don't want to listen to an expert who's never endured it, but just because they have some type of certification or licensure that makes them an expert, that's That's what I say to that. Anywho, so I'll go through it again real quick. Day 1 to 10, you are bleeding. You're in that range of bleeding. Hormones are at your lowest. You're producing estrogen. Estrogen thrives when insulin is low. That is your time to super fast. Light workouts, nothing crazy. Ovulation, day 11 to 15, give or take here. 3 hormones are surging, so we need food to calm the hormones down and break them down. No more than a 13 to 15 hour fast. Day 16 to 19, longer fast, 24 to 36 hours, similar to when you're menstruating. And then day 20, progesterone super high. So we do not want to fast at all or no more than 13 to 15 hours. And you want to eat progesterone producing foods. Quinoa, rices, potatoes, sweet potatoes, squashes, mwah, perfecto. That's where you want to stay. Citrus fruits and beans if you could do them. I love beans and I miss beans. I just can't do them. Postmenopausal women listening to this, you don't have to worry about timing your cycle. Boom, you're done. There's no cycle, there's no timing. However, you are extremely low in progesterone. Those days of producing progesterone are over. Want, want, want. You're much higher in estrogen. Estrogen thrives off of insulin. And we want to calm inflammation down and we want estrogen to drop. Lower carb, healthy nature-based carbs, and then longer fasting times. You're actually like in your mode of fasting when you're menopausal, believe it or not. Again, and I'm sorry for flipping, but if I don't do this, I won't stay on task and I will go all over the place. And I'm a storyteller. I'm Irish. We tell stories and we get excited. We're very animated. We're like Italians with a different accent. I don't know. I feel like we're so similar to Italians. Now, the science-y part of this is we have, menstruation, ovulation, a follicular phase, luteal phase. Now, during ovulation, you have enormous isometric strength and peak performance. So you can push, if you're into weight training, push it. Push yourself to the max during ovulation. You're actually at your strongest muscularly speaking. Follicular phase, you want to focus on complex projects. It's a time for more socialization. You can ramp up your exercise a little bit. Ovulation, more sex. Woohoo! Engage in challenging conversations. It's a great time to attend events and social gatherings, and it's a great time for team-related projects. Luteal phase, self-care, focus on the mundane tasks, curl up with a good book or a movie, and treat yourself to something, like dark chocolate. And then menstruation, is usually our winter time. And this isn't tried or true. Again, I've said this before. It's really hard for me to say. It's not fair for me to say this is how it is for every single woman because you're different. You might feel more energy while you're bleeding. I mean, I don't know. I'm not you. I just know that, I've been getting periods for a long time. And when I'm bleeding, I'm usually exhausted. Well, the fatigue for me starts a couple days before, which is typical. And then, when you start bleeding, you can be uncomfortable, you got a lot going on. You have a little bit more to think about during your day. But yeah, so there's times to be more productive. You feel more energized, access that, get shit done. You'll even notice, when you're pregnant, anyone who's been pregnant and they say you go through the nesting phase right before your period. I have moments during my cycle where I'm like, I want to clean, I'm so in the mood to clean. I'd rather go for a hike than clean. I'm like the type of girl, listen, both my sisters modeled and I was eating mud pies. I'd rather mow a lawn than clean a toilet. I'm kind of more like a dude in that way, but I will go through that phase during my cycle at some point where I'm like, I want to clean. I want to, I want to do laundry. I want to stay home a little bit more. And then I have those times where I'm definitely like, oh, I'm more social. And it kind of falls in line with what I just laid out. But it's not tried and true because we're all so very, very different. I know I went through that super, super quick, but my videos can be lengthy. I'm like long format, like Joe Rogan style. I kind of like that, not all the time, but I do like the longer format. I like more content. I like when people dive deep, and I understand that not everybody's like that. So I'm trying to get as much information as I can in quickly, and then make the videos under 20 minutes. That's kind of been my goal. I'm doing a pretty good job of that. Hopefully it's coherent and making sense. But yeah, so if you ever have any questions and you don't, I think a lot of people are embarrassed to leave comments. I would love more comments and engagement because I'm all about conversation and connection. But if you don't know me and you feel super weird, message me. Like, find me on Instagram. I put my 2 handles on now, my business and my personal. Private message me. I don't care. My cell phone number is like all over the place. Text me and be like, hey, I found you on YouTube. I have questions, and I was embarrassed to like reach out. But yeah, again, just another little like caution. Don't jump in with both feet with fasting, but I will tell you that it's changed my life. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. Most of the 3-day fast that I've done, I've cheated and had a little bit of green tea. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I think one day I wound up drinking a decaf coffee because I do have some mitochondrial issues and my stuff with fatigue, but also working in a restaurant and working nights. I'm a morning person. I'm like a go to bed at like 9-10 o'clock person. So I get up early no matter what. Like, I worked last night and I was still up at, by 6 in the morning. And then I don't always have time for a nap because I want to live my life and do things. So it's not easy for me to fast, but I will tell you it's amazing. I mean, I've had amazing benefits. It's really great for weight loss, healthy weight loss, and it's amazing for fat loss and for cellulite. The other thing that I will say quickly is there are a couple other ways to do this. I'm not recommending it. I'm just giving you information. I don't like being told what to do. I'm never here to tell anybody what to do. These are like suggestions and information, and I'm just educating. There are people who do very well, and I've actually thought about starting to do this for me, eating every other day fasting. So you eat one day, you fast the next for 24 full hours. Then you eat the next day, then you fast for 24 full hours. Another thing, in all of my research in all of these years, there are several people who have found the perfect amount of calories for them where they can, because this one guy is super active. And he eats 1,100 calories a day. I mean, that's not a lot, especially for a man. It's not a lot. And he's been doing it for years and years and years, and he never went into nutritional deficiency. Well, Carrie, how do I know I'm in nutritional deficiency? You'll know. You will know, especially as a woman, you will know. Especially if you start losing your hair, because you are too much in a fast. And I'll talk about that in another video. There are specific signs that you're nutrient deficient. Mine is always, my hair starts thinning, my hair starts falling out like crazy. I start losing muscle instead of gaining muscle. And that is intrinsically connected to cortisol and whatnot, because if you're fasting too much, you can actually increase your cortisol. And remember, progesterone, you want to have a certain amount of progesterone in your body, as a woman. That is what calms us and makes us feel okay. So cortisol is just an absolute nemesis to this whole process. So I know people who fast and then they have a day of famine, complete famine. I have done this and I've had amazing results. Well, I will eat all day what I can eat because I'm on a restrictive diet, but I will go no holds bar. And I do eat white rice on occasion. So I'll eat more honey than I normally do. I'll eat more rice than I normally do. I'll eat a whole bar of my favorite organic dark chocolate, and then I'll eat a ton of meat. And I will eat from sun up to sundown. And I've seen amazing results on that. So there is a lot to this process, but I gave you baby steps: 13 hours, 17 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours. If nothing else, this is Ayurveda, is the sister science to yoga. And in India, it is very common for them to fast 1-2 days a week. So like every Sunday, you pick one day a week. And if Sunday's your super social day and you go out with your friends to eat, that's not your day. Do it during a work day and just don't eat for one day a week. I did that for years and years and years, and it happened to be Sunday. Sunday was my day where I didn't eat anything. I just drank water. So there are ways to start to trickle into this and you know, start very slow. Be very gentle with yourself. If you're getting dizzy, if you're getting nauseous, if you're getting shaky, back off. You know, back off. I hope this helps. I'm really passionate about this stuff, if you can't tell. This is actually how animated I get in real person. And you're not gonna believe me, but I'm pretty introverted. I know it doesn't seem that way. I still use the old school composition books, by the way, but I'm pretty introverted person. Super animated when I'm talking to you all on camera though, right? And I'm animated in person when I'm doing my thing, but then I'm like total hermit. I could live in like a little hobbit house for the rest of my life, deep in the woods, and come out every once in a while and say hello to everybody, jazz hands, and then go back in. All right, y'all, take care. Hope this helps.